Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me and you can see my PowerPoint presentation. Can at least one just answer to say you can see my PowerPoint presentation? Hello?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, yeah. So our course is called Accounts Management. Accounts Management. So basically, it is it's an online bookkeeping course. It's a bookkeeping, but this bookkeeping course, it's more of like aligned to the legal practices. So we bring in concepts that have to do with the legal industry. The reason why they changed their name, they changed its name. It used to be online bookkeeping course, and then they just decided to make it accounts management. So for some, you find they join and they do not understand where accounts management is coming from, but it's basically bookkeeping, but we more of like align it to what happens in the legal fraternity. And it's offered by the Law Society of South Africa, and I am your facilitator, Faustina Kaserera, and I am a CASA. Okay, so with this course, like I said, it's more of like online. We only started recently with the webinars, these webinars, just for us to give a little bit more information and also to have questions and interaction, kind of like, because we never used to have a direct interaction with the participants, with the students. So then they started with it, and you would find we make use of the online platform. I think all of you, you have had an opportunity to go online and see how the online is structured, and for you to ask questions for anything that you feel like you need clarity. So we utilize the forum. So with the forum, that's where you get most of the information. In terms, even we post like the facilitator posts some notes on the forum on the assignments or the topics that will be the chapters that will be working on the forum, so that you get additional information for the benefit of other students. We prefer to use the forum, so that if one asks and then the other one most probably will tap in and get the information, because it's not more of like a live interaction. So it's only during these webinars that we can then open up and say, okay, let's talk. Whoever has got issues, whoever needs clarity, then we give a clarity. Okay, and then when it comes to admin issues, if ever you have any issues technically or with the admin, you have to contact Grace Mukuru. And I believe most of you have her email address, or you have the e-leader email address. So if ever you have any technical issues, whenever you send to her. So when I say technical admin, say you can't attend to your assignment, you are not able to submit, or you are having load shedding, or you are in hospital, then you can send the emails to her. And then what she does is that she then gives the facilitator an instruction to say, specifically on this student, can you mark or can you give another assignment to the student, so that they can be on par with everyone because of the mishaps or anything that could have happened. Okay. Okay, so our general matters, I'll also take you through the platform, the online platform. the facilitator, in this case, I'm not doing the weekly facilitation. I normally do the weekly and the webinars. I am just assisting with the webinars this time, but the facilitator usually is available on a weekly basis. He's given an hour to check messages on the forum, respond to messages, and then or to post any notes that he feels need to be posted on the forum. So they are usually available once a week, and on the calendar, then there's a time given where the facilitator is available. But of late, because of it's not live, it's not a live interaction. What the facilitator then does is that they continuously just check if ever there's someone who has posted something, or even sometimes the forum notifies on emails to say so and so is sent in a message, so and so is sent in a question, and then or a ticket, and then on the ticket, then we respond. Okay, and then when it comes to anything that we feel you need clarity, sometimes on the course when we set up the assignments, we make mistakes, or sometimes we need to clarify. What we then do is that we put an announcement. And then what we also strive to do is to make sure that that announcement is delivered to your emails, so that when you get these emails, even when you're at home, or then at least you can know. And also when it comes to reminders on the assignments as well as the closing due date, we also put in an announcement that is delivered to your email so that you are reminded of the course. Okay, so when we look at the course, how it was structured is that the webinars only started recently. So there was a manual which was developed for the course. So there is a manual that is there. I will take you through the platform so that I can show you how you will be able to download the manual. I hope most of you have managed to download the manual, because with the manual, that's where you get most of the information. Okay, and then the other thing besides the manual, one has to know the Act, the Legal Practice Act. One has to, especially issues that have to do with the accounting records, how to maintain your accounting records, how to stick to, because the Act has got certain sections that, like Section 86, if you look at it, then it gives you more information on how to maintain the firm's accounting records. And also there are rules which were developed by the industry, especially the Legal Practice Council. Previously, there used to be like the 4 divisions, that is the Law Society of South Africa, Law Society of Northern Provinces, and then the one KwaZulu-Natal, and then the one in the Cape, and I think it used to be 3. So each of them used to have their own rules, and then in those rules there were also accounting rules. So what they've done now, they've merged the rules, and then so us as practitioners, as advocates, we need to know the rules, because what they do about these accounting rules, when they want to charge you, they charge you using the rules. So you need to read them and understand and adhere to them, so that whenever someone is sent for investigation or someone is sent for inspection, just to inspect the accounting records of the firm, then you are aware of what you are supposed to do. And also in our manual, what we have tried to do, we have tried to pick up those rules that are critical, that we feel you should know. So if you go through the first chapter, the second chapter, you would find then we have put in the rules so that you maintain your accounting records. And when your legal bodies come to inspect or to do anything there, then at least you know this is what you were supposed to do. Okay, so our course, how it is structured when it comes to assignments, we have a test and it's called test 1. So that is the only test that we have. With that test, it will open up. I think it's there on the schedule. So you will see when it will open up. It covers basically chapters 1 to 5, just like assignment 1. It's a multiple choice, kind of like a test. It's web-based, and you are given 1 hour. So I think it opens for about 3 weeks, 3 weeks or to a month or so. And then in those 3 weeks to a month, you are just given 1 hour, where when you open it up, you have to attempt it, you have to do it and finish it within an hour. And then the marks which are coming from that test contributes 20% of your final mark. Okay. And then we have the test is based online. So it's theory and a bit of practical. So they would ask where you need to add up. If it's your cash book, if you are told you received so much, you paid so much, then they would ask you how much is left. So there's a bit of theory in there, but it's just simple theory, simple application. And in that 1 hour, then you have to do it online and finish it. So you should look for a time where you are actually just free to do it, and you know you can just attend to it. Because the moment you have attempted it and you do not finish it, you won't be able to do it again. So you can even do it over the weekend, over the holidays, if ever they are in. Okay, and then we've got 3 assignments. So we've got assignment 1, assignment 2, and assignment 3. Assignment 1 is the one that is opening now. It will cover chapters 1 to 5. So it has got a bit of theory and then a practical example, but it's limited just to the cash book. So you will work through, present a cash book. And then assignment 2 is the one which is more detailed. It will cover chapter 6, I think up to about chapter 11. So that one is very detailed. It introduces the bookkeeping concepts that are there, like your conveyancing. It introduces trust investments, and also it has got a bit of VAT, so you have to apply knowledge on VAT. So you go through the manual, you read through, you are given the assignment for assignment 2. We actually have opened it up for more than 10 days, 10 to about 14 days, because it's more detailed, it's more application. And then assignment 3, it's more of like a roundup. It's a roundup. You're given certain sections to say, okay, you've got a divorce transaction, you've got this and that, and then it's for one practice. Then you combine everything together, and then you in your cash books and ledgers. So assignment 2 and 3, they're more of like practical. So you are back to basics to your bookkeeping, your T accounts, your ledgers. So you need to understand how T accounts, how ledgers are done. So the good thing about these webinars is that we are also given an opportunity to then take you through an example. And that example, I can as well post it online and say, oh, okay, this is how we're doing T accounts. And then you can develop your own T accounts from there. So that is the nicer part now. Okay, overall, what I would say is that you just need to plan your time. I think we've given ample time to the difficult assignment, which is assignment 2, because, you know, like advocates, they don't do conveyancing. And I see I've got some advocates here. And but if you are a trust account holder and you want to deal with the public, you want to then invest their monies, and so it would be good then to know what is happening in the legal fraternity and how to apply. And to make things easier, I would recommend that you become more of like active on the forum. Yeah, so like if you're active on the forum, you ask questions and will be able, like everyone, if everyone participate, if ever you have time. But because of these webinars, usually those who attend, they become well off because we would have discussed things in the forum. And the thing is that you just have to submit your work so that you do not waste your time. You don't want to attend webinars. You don't want to attend to test 1, assignment 1 and 2, and you find you have not reached the pass mark. So even if you do not finish the assignment, you would rather just submit, and then when we average, because how we mark is that we average 20% to test 1, and then 80% comes from assignment 1, 2, 3. So if you are to attempt, and even if you do not finish, you would find you would get very good marks, and then you get your certificate and you are done. And also you get some understanding, because I believe at the end of the day, this is more of like applicable to your practices. This is something that will give you a heads up in terms of how you conduct your practice. So never give up, but yeah, where you see it's difficult, just ask for help and we'll be able to assist you. Okay, I will take you through, I'll unshare, and then I want to go to the platform. But for now, while I'm going to the platform, if you have any questions, let's discuss. If you have any questions, while I'm opening the platform, if you have any questions that you want to post through, then you can just ask, and then we see how we can help each other. Yes, I see a hand. You may go through. You may ask. From my end, I can't hear you. The question that you wanted to ask, I can't hear. I just want to check who raised their hand. Yeah, is it Helgard or Helgard? I don't know how to pronounce. Mr. Schultz, yeah, you may ask. You can unmute and ask before we can proceed. Oh, okay, maybe it was the raising of the hand when we were voting. So I'm going to share the platform. Okay, this is our platform. I hope you can see it. It's called My Leader, mylead.lssa. So when you log in, you select your 2023-2. So don't be confused. This is more of like from the side of a facilitator, but I guess everything else should be the same. Okay, so with our platform, what we have, we have the introduction. The introduction, it will give you the terms and conditions associated with the course. So may you go through and you read the terms and conditions. And also these videos, I hope they are opening up. It's just a minor, like kind of like introduction, but if you read the manual, whatever that is here is also in the manual. And then on the course material, this is where you get to download the manual that I was talking about. So you come, you click here where it's written, click here to download the manual. I hope you can see. And please, this is where you get your manual on the introduction, course material. And then there, it tells us that then we get include all the, okay, the manual includes all the course material, and then it also has got some notes, it has got some examples, and then it has got legislation and regulations. It's to do with bookkeeping, accounting issues. And on the platform, we've got some animated course materials, which are, we have left the ones which are relevant, because what happened is that there's been a change in the legislation. We moved from the Attorneys Act, and we moved from the provincial rules and regulations. So in those moves, then there were some animated courses which were not applicable. So then they had to remove them. And what we have also done, we have linked some examples. So when you go through the platform, when you go through, there are these tabs which go hand in hand with our manual. So when you go there, at least it gives a brief, more of like brief example. It gives a brief, like it gives you the overview, what the expectations, as well as an example. But the manual gives more detailed information. So I would say, please go through the manual. And also on the forum, we've got a link to the activity solutions. So wherever you do not understand, then you can just indicate from the forum, I'm having this issue, can you help? Then we help you with that. Okay, so that is the introduction. This is where you get your manual. And then the announcements. So the announcements, we post them. The facilitator would post. Do not mind mine. I am able to edit or see other things, but your view probably would view the highlighted items that would have posted. So this is where you get your announcement. So if things do not come into your through your emails, because some participants or some students, they've opted not to receive emails. So you also need to come and check on the announcements so that you see what is happening. And then we've got the calendar. So the calendar is the one that shows you what is upcoming. The best way to view would be for you to select the one that lists the events, and then you specify the details. Then you'll be able to view what is coming up. Like you can see on 5 June, we've got assignment 1, which is going to open. And then if you can go through, you will see like June 12, then assignment 1 is June. So this will help you now and again. If you can check, it will help you with knowing what is happening. So you get it on your calendar. And then resources, this is where you get available resources that were uploaded by Grace. So you can check and then utilize those. And then your assignments, this is my view, but from your end, you should be able also to view the assignments. So when they become open, when we say assignment 1 is open, what we also try to do is we attach the assignment on the announcement. We try to announce it and attach it so that when it comes to you, then it comes to your email. But please come to the forum if it doesn't go through. You click on the assignment, you'll be able to download the assignment and get any instructions that should come off. And then from there, we've got what we call, these are now course material. So it's just explaining the basic controls. And if you go into the manual, that's where you get most of the information. introduction to bookkeeping, like what I've said to you, this is a bookkeeping course. So what we need to do is we need to introduce you, to explain to you what is bookkeeping, what's the difference between bookkeeping and accounting, so that you have you've got some knowledge and some understanding of the terms in bookkeeping. And then what we do, we introduce you to the trust and the business account and trust accounting records, business accounting records, trust cash books, business cash books. Why do we differentiate between the two? What's the importance of having a trust account? You find your industry is specialized. It's different from any other industry because you were given the trust. So the trust in that you are given a trust account where you can hold money for the public. So then you find the industry teaches more on how to safeguard those funds which are meant for our clients. Okay, and then also to distinguish, to say, okay, the business account, okay, this is your account. How do you then apply yourselves between the two accounts? Okay, and then you are given more information on the accounting records, the systems, the procedures, so that you get it right through and through. You do not falter, because also besides an industry where you are given trust, it is also a strict, it's more of like a controlled, more controlled than any other industry. We know doctors are controlled, we know accountants are controlled, but what I've come through over the years, I worked for the LPC here in Gauteng, Law Society of Northern Provinces, for some time. So I've seen that they're a bit strict whenever they receive a complaint. So they want the accounting records to be kept up to date. So if you can read these things, they also do help you. And then we then talk about the cash books and the ledgers, and how to write in your cash books, how to write in your ledgers, and then how to reconcile the same cash books. How do you reconcile them against the bank so that our monies, business money or trust money, is not stolen, or we find ourselves we have accounted for everything. Okay, so these topics, the ones that I've covered, are more of like the ones that come into our assignment 1, and then the rest, they more of like come into our assignment 2, and assignment 3 more of like wraps up everything. I think assignment 1 also has got some journal entries. So you just need to have an explanation. What is a journal? How does it go about? How do you go about recording a journal? And why this time a journal? Why not in a cash book? So all that, if you go through the manual, you would get the information. Okay. I don't know if, okay, let me also show you the forum before I can come off the system. Okay, this is our forum. Okay, so with the forum, it has got a welcome note. It has got a general discussion like there, where we've got an unread, we'll have to read it and then answer back. So you'd find if you post anything on the forum, then we are able to come on the forum and then we answer the question. And so anyone who then comes on the forum, they are also able to read through and to, gain knowledge from what other students are saying. So this is our platform. This is where we interact, because besides the webinars, then there's no other way of interaction. Okay. All right. So basically, this is the platform. I am going to unshare, unless if there is any question on the platform. Anyone who has got any question? Okay, so I see no questions. So let's move on, and then we will go back to the slides. So I'm going to stop sharing the platform, and then I'm going to go back to the slides. Okay, on the slides, I'm now sharing. Okay, all right, I got a question on the chat which says, please can you show me where to download the manual? Okay, so I will briefly just go back to our platform. I hope you can see the platform. This is our platform. So I said on the introduction, here's the introduction. And then on course material, there's a click here. So if you click there, you'll be able to download the manual. So on top, on the left side, it's introduction. When you get inside introduction, you come to course material. You please click here. When you click there, then your manual will download. It's a big manual. It has got about 88 pages. So it will download, and then you have your more of like your ebook that you can print if you want to print, or you can just read it on your laptop or on your tablet. Yeah. Okay, I hope you are answered. Okay, I hope yeah, Camille, you are answered. Yeah, I see you say thank you. All right, so let's move on. We go to our platform where we share. Like I had said, I want to share. I'm going back to our presentation. Yes, this is our presentation. I hope everyone can see it. Okay, so on the introduction, I spoke about the introduction, which is on the platform as well, which is also in our manual. So on the introduction, like what I've said, that's where you find your manual, and I've shown you how to download. So you should study the manual. And also I have told you that our course is merely like bookkeeping course, but I think you have also done it when you were doing your degrees. So we are just emphasizing the same issues that pertain to us as people in the legal industry. Okay, and then I have also told you that we need to understand the difference between the trust and the business accounts. So we need to thoroughly understand. So if we are given an example, we then need to know this is the trust account example, then this is a business account example, and the reasons why we should distinguish between the two. Like even our accounting records, they are supposed to be separated. Those for the trust are supposed to be kept separate from those of the business account. So you'd find the Legal Practice Council is more, and also the Fidelity Fund, they are more interested in your trust accounting records. And also they don't want funds to be mixed. So when you are dealing with your clients, you have to be careful when passing on the details of the trust and the business. But where you make a mistake, of course, mistakes do happen. And say you give a client, he pays trust money into your business account, then as soon as you reckon that this man was paid by mistake, then you have to act and pay it over to the trust account. And for any money that gets into trust, you have to account for it. You should be able to tell from your head or from your books, if it's a big practice, to say the money in the trust account belongs to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even if that money, it was paid to cover legal fees in the future, before you can debit it, it still belongs to the client, because even if it was paid for fees, so if you have not yet offered or rendered the service, then the money still belongs to the client until a point where you have recorded in your business accounts to say, okay, I'm now invoicing the client. I tell the client, this is what I've done. the client gives me a go ahead, then you can do your trust transfer into the business account. Before then, the account, the money in the trust account, your accounting records are supposed to show that money under the ledger of the client. Okay? Money under the ledger of the client. So the only thing that happens in your trust account is that there's a cash book where you receive money, and then there are ledgers. And ledgers are for the clients. They're called trust creditors ledgers. So we receive money, we debit the cash book, we credit the client. So the money stays into the client's account until you start transacting on behalf of the client. So you need to understand that part to say money in the trust account belongs to the client until when you say, oh, okay, the advocate has done work, let me pay the advocate. Then you pay out of the trust account because the money was paid into the trust account. But where the advocate gives you an invoice, you have no money in the trust account, then yes, you can notify the client, you invoice them from the business side. When they pay, then you pay over to the advocate because the money was never in the trust account. So those are the nitty-gritties that you need to learn on how to separate the two. Okay, so disbursements where money is in trust are paid from the trust account. Disbursements where there's no money received, then we are sitting with, then the client is sitting with a what? A creditor. Then it means holding a creditor for the client. Then you do it from the business side. Okay, all right. From the introduction, we have a topic called basic control principles. So basic control principles, we are looking at the rules like what I've said pertaining to the trust account and also the act pertaining to the trust account. So if you look at it, a trust account is an account that is governed by Section 86. So a Section 86(1) is the one that introduces us to a trust account. It says every legal practitioner who has opted to operate a trust account, then from Section 86(2), then it stipulates that they should open a Section 86(2) trust account, which means when you go to the bank, and you ask the bank to open a Section 86(2). I think anyways, it's a requirement once you register with the LPC or the Law Society of the Cape or KwaZulu-Natal. When you register with them, they request you to open a trust account. So the basic trust account is a Section 86(2), and it should be opened by the banks, which are according to the Banking Act. And with a trust account, trust banking account or trust account, the bank statements should show that it's a trust account. And with the help of the Fidelity Fund, what they've done now is that they've ensured that interest is earned in the trust account, and also they've negotiated with the bank charges with the various banks so that at least certain bank charges are levied against the trust account. So you find they've negotiated the interest rate, they've negotiated the bank charges so that they don't become high. But where you find you've got a trust account and you haven't had money from clients, so you'd find the bank will not stop charging. It will just charge those bank charges even if there's no money. So the practice has to pay for those charges. They have to cover the charges from the business account. So to make life easier, what the Fidelity Fund has done, and also with the law societies, what they've done, they've organized what they call a sweeping system. So with that sweeping system, you go to the bank, you ask them to be on the sweeping system, and then the bank will redirect the bank charges So whenever they charge for themselves, they redirect to the business account. Or where the trust account has got enough money and it has earned. Remember, if you see your trust account is not earning money, then it means the bank has not structured it well, because they've got an agreement with the law societies, with the Fidelity Fund, such that automatically there should be interest which comes into a trust account for the benefit of the fund. Okay, so if it's not, if you see there's no interest that is being credited to the trust account, then you need to go back to the bank and notify them so that they rectify. Okay, and then the structure that they've given is that on the bank charges and interest, if interest is higher than the bank charges, then the bank charges are covered by the interest. And the bank, if you're on the sweeping system, if the practice is on the banking sweeping system, then they can, the bank will pay over the money to the fund. And one thing that you should know, a Section 86(2), all the interest, net interest that is earned goes to the fund. And the idea of the interest going to the fund is that they create a fund if ever there is any misappropriation or anything that happens. Then the same clients that are affected, because remember, this is clients' money, clients have put in the money, they haven't given you instructions to invest the money. So without any instructions, then by default, the interest goes to the fund. They keep a fund so that if ever anything happens to the money in the trust account, then they can, at least if ever there's a claim, they can pay to the clients that are affected. Okay, so that is the structure that is there, done by the legal industry to safeguard trust funds. Okay, so they don't even look at whether your firm paid in or did not pay in. If your firm suffers any misappropriation, then the clients benefit even from those other firms that are paying the interest over. So you should always ensure that we are on the sweeping system, because then it benefits you in the fact that you will never have a shortage due to bank charges or to VAT being unrecoverable from your business account, because the bank does that for yourself. Okay, and then the other thing about trust accounts, a practice can actually have more than one trust account. So say, for instance, you are given an instruction, say a collection instruction, a big instruction by a particular client where they say, please open a dedicated trust account for us. So yes, you can open a dedicated trust account for them, as long as when you open it, you notify the law society or your LPC, your legal practice council. You notify them to say, I'm opening this, then they record it on their system that there's a trust account. And when it comes to your auditing, because you have to submit yearly audits, you make sure that it's included as part of the audits. It's part of your accounting records. So it has to form part of your accounting records where you record it, and you can't omit, because in future, when they pick up that you were omitting, then it's an offense. Okay, so that's our trust account, Section 86(2). And then we come to our investment accounts. So we've got Section 86(3) and Section 86(4). 86(3), it's more of like a sub trust account where, say for instance, you have funds that you just feel at your discretion, okay, I can move these funds, they're now becoming too much, I can put them in a call account or a Section 86(3). You ask the bank to open a Section 86(3) account for you, and then you put that money. It's not you don't need to use it like immediately, and you don't have instructions from your clients to invest on their behalf. So you move it to a Section 86(3). It earns interest there. It forms part of your accounting, trust accounting records, and the interest that is earned in that account is also payable to the fund in full, net of bank charges. So it's payable to the fund. So because of now the arrangement that is there in a section 86.2, you find most practices they rarely open a section 86.3 because then it becomes a bit of admin, another bank account that you have to manage. So there's literally no need to do that. But for those who feel like they want to utilize it, they can utilize the section 86.3 and also account for it, pay to the fund. Okay, and then we move to a section 86.4. Section 86.4, it's an investment account, but this one, the money comes into trust for an underlying transaction. So say, for instance, we have litigation in court, and then it is stipulated that one of the parties has to pay in money in a trust account, say 100,000, they pay in, and then that money should be kept in trust in order for the matter to proceed and people knowing that there are funds that will cover this and that. Okay, in a matter, or even for, say, a conveyancing matter with conveyancers, you find they have to take deposits and also purchase prices for properties in advance. They can't proceed with any transfer where money has not been received. So then the money comes into trust for an underlying transaction, and then the client instructs and say, okay, the money that we are giving you, we want you to invest it on behalf of whoever has paid. It can be the purchaser, gives instructions, and also you as a legal practitioner, you can advise your clients to say, oh, okay, I'm going to hold your money. You've got also an alternative to give me instructions to invest. So you create a form where the person signs, and then you ask the bank to open a section 86.4. So a section 86.4 should be opened for each and every matter, for each and every client. The bank statement should show the client's name. Okay, that's a section 86.4. And then control should be with the practice. The legal practitioner is the one who controls. It's not like you go to the bank with the client, you give the client signing powers. No, the legal practitioner is the one who controls. They're in charge of that account. Okay, so they should be first comes to trust, second, instructions, third, a dedicated account, fourth is the issue of interest. So when it comes to interest in a section 86.4, 5% goes to the fund and 95% goes to the client. So the best way is then to also go back and have a sweeping system where on a monthly basis, then the banks are aware of these rules, they are aware of these accounts because they interact with the fund. And then on a monthly basis, you would find then the bank would deduct the 5% and pay it over to the fund. Then it makes your accounting easier because you don't have to wait until a certain period or at the financial year end, then you start calculating and paying over to the fund, especially if you have a lot of these accounts. Okay. And then since I said you have to open one for each client, you can't lump up everything. And if a client wants bank statements, you should be able to account and provide. Okay, so that's a section 86.4. And once you get to the end of your matter or you get instructions to withdraw, then you can withdraw the money. It comes back to trust. Then you account to your client. After accounting to your client, then you find then everything is above board. And you also present it for auditing because it forms part of your accounting records. Present it for auditing. The auditors, I think they have to check if the funds were properly transferred to the fund and things like that. And then they have a section where they have to report on section 86.4 funds. Okay, and then from there we've got other statutory requirements and also on control principles. I just spoke about the trust accounts. There are rules. Please read the rules. Like when you receive money, if it's in cash, when are you supposed to bank it? How frequent? Preparation of accounting records. How frequent are you supposed to do your reconciliations, download? It used to be on a quarterly basis, but now it's now on a monthly basis. So you are supposed to show your auditor that you are doing these things. Your record, your accounting records are being updated on a monthly basis, and you are downloading and you are keeping them somewhere. You are backing up. You need to know that. And there are also rules pertaining to when can you withdraw money from the trust account and to who. So it's limited. Either you are withdrawing for your fees or on behalf of a client or to the client according to instructions of the client. So you need to read all that. And the use of cash, you cannot withdraw cash from a trust account. Then you have to do EFTs. So you need to have systems in place so that you can do EFTs to your clients. And also issues like telephone banking, whether you're allowed to do telephone banking or not. So you will find all that in the manual. Okay, and then from there, we've got other statutory requirements. So our other statutory requirements, it's like it's a practice. This is a practice you're practicing in the Republic of South Africa. So when it comes to your tax issues, the moment you start having employees, the practice is to register for UIF with the Department of Labor, compensation fund for the employees, and also register with SARS in terms of paying pay as you earn for the employees. You see, so that is one of the requirements. And also, then you need to look at your practice and say, especially for attorneys, to say, do I need to incorporate or I leave it as a sole practitioner, or I leave it, we operate in a partnership. So when you look at incorporation, then there's the function, you look at the requirements in terms of tax, the Companies Act. So when it comes to tax, if it's incorporated, then you would find it comes with its own tax number. And you as the director of that incorporated company, then you are more of like now an employee. You also need to have a salary, and whenever you get a salary, then you need to pay as you earn, as and when you get your salary. It's not like you just wake up and say, I'm withdrawing money. You don't draw money if it's a company. You get a salary, properly structure it, but of course, it goes hand in hand with your earnings so that you account to the taxman and you are not found wanting. And the other statutory requirement is that, like, you can opt to register for VAT at a threshold of 50,000. You have your fees, they reach more than 50,000, you can opt register for VAT. Or where you have hit in fees of more than 1 million, then you are required to register for VAT. So you also need to have systems in place where you know how to record when you get to that 1 million mark within a 12 months period. So you look at 12 months period, then you register for VAT, and then on a bi-monthly or on a monthly basis, depending on how you register, then you make sure that you submit your returns. You pay over the VAT on your fees, depending on the nature of the practice, you see. So if it's a company, then the terms are different from those ones of a sole prop, because with a sole prop, they can account for their VAT on a receipt basis whenever they receive money. But if it's an Inc., it's a different story. Then you have to account on an invoice basis, whether you have received the money or not. So those are the other statutory requirements that you need to look at. And also we have FICA. You have to, I think, automatically in your industry, you have to register with the Financial Intelligence Center. And once you register, you're not just registering. When you're told to register, you're not just doing it and then you stop there. There are requirements to report. You have to understand the reporting compliance. Now they've got compliance issues. I saw in affidavit and things like when a client he comes in, how you figure the client. So you need to register and attend these courses and understand those statutory requirements. Okay, so for today, I think our 1 hour is finished. Our 1 hour is finished, and I will have to stop here. And let me come out of the sharing and see if we've got any questions. And then next week, what I'll do is that I'll ask Grace to set up another hour or 2 hours on Thursday, next week Thursday. Then we can go through an assignment, bookkeeping, more bookkeeping and an assignment which covers a cash book. Okay, do we have any questions? Any comments? Are we fine? You can unmute and tell me if you're fine or if you're finding this interesting, so that, yeah.
Would Grace be able to send us notification of next week's hour continuation of today, please?
Sorry?
Will it be able, so Grace can send us a notification for next week's extra hour, the continuation of today's webinar?
Yes, yes, yes. Just like what she did. You saw webinar 1 was announced. So I'm going to ask her tomorrow so that she can send you a notification so that next week, Thursday, we have a continuation. We cover assignment 1. So it's nice that you would have seen the assignment and then we take an example, we do it together. And then also I had a question to say, this presentation, is it going to be available? Yes, what I will do is that I will send the presentation to Grace. And also it has got a question there that then you can prepare if you have time. I'll send it to Grace and then she will publish it for you on the system, or the presentation, I'll publish it for you on the platform as a notification. Then you can also go through the slides and yeah, but they are brief. They're not so detailed.
No problem.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Another question, but yeah, those who feel like going, thank you so much for your time. I know, yeah, we've got issues, but yeah, hopefully we'll be able to cover a lot in our second 1 hour on Thursday. But I will try to make it 2 hours because, but I think an hour will be able to finish. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. And then the group, there's someone saying, anyone not on the group, please send me a WhatsApp. Eleno. What group is this one? Maybe I missed the. I don't know about the group. Maybe you were talking before or a study group for support. Oh, okay, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So for those ones who want to join, and then as you start group, if you feel like you need something that you need presentation, you can always say in the forum. Then we arrange, since we are doing these webinars now, or maybe after the hour of Thursday. Then what we do is that we can have a chat. I can present what you are facing challenges on. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.